Lesson number one when trying to get good at golf. Making time for getting good at golf. Okay, so it's just gone 20 to 7 in the morning. Good morning, it's very early, and this is lesson number one. You've got to make time to get good at this game. There's no shortcuts, and that's the long and short of it. Welcome back to a brand new episode of me learning to play golf left-handed. Now, I haven't quite settled on a title, so if you've got any suggestions, please comment below what you think the series should be called. But the first episode got amazing reaction. Loads of people liked and commented and said it's a great idea, so I'm up early, we're going to film another episode. And obviously when it comes to golf, you've got to put the time in, there's no shortcuts. But if I had my time over again, where would I invest my time? Because I'm quite busy. Obviously I'm going to be in the shop from 7:30 to 6:30, I've got lessons later, I'm in the gym, so the only time I can really find to start this new journey is in the mornings, or sometimes on my day off. And realistically I'm going to be putting 5 hours, not on the golf course, practice a week on this. Any good golfer I've ever known, any scratch team player I've ever known, when I'm locking up the shop, they're out on the chipping and putting green. They're practicing their pitch shots, their wedge game, their putting, 3 foot, 6 foot, 9 foot. So, if I had my time again, start all over, I would spend the majority of my time around here. So even though I'm going to talk about technique throughout this series, for example, on how basically I learned to play golf and what worked for me, especially under pressure, that's key to this series, using it, playing golf under pressure, not just being able to hit a few chips before you go and play golf, but how do you do it at the time, at the moment. Now, something I really struggled when I tried to obviously get my handicap down and obviously try and turn pro to do my PGA and golf coach, So when it comes down to technique, is finding something that you're confident with, not just here but out on the golf course, and that's basically comes down to practice and pressure drills and time and effort. The more you put into it, getting up at 6:30 in the morning, put an hour into your game is going to make you more confident on the weekends, knowing that you've put that practice in. That's my experience anyway. So let's talking about the actual practice and more. Let me show you what I'm going to be doing in terms of getting used to the idea of club face control, hitting the ground, controlling my shots, and then slowly building my swing up from this part of the course to obviously all the way up to the driver. This is going to take some work, seeing as I've just set the camera up for a right-handed player. Okay, so I've never met a player that's an unbelievable chipper and pitcher of the golf ball, yet can't have a decent full swing. Whereas, for example, I've met a lot of players that have a very good long game, but rubbish all of this. And there's no point practicing, getting good at your long game, but when it comes down to the scoring part of the game, you can't deliver. Loads of people lose too many shots, and to be perfectly honest, it's difficult for a golf coach and a player, as we're very impatient people. When you come for that first lesson, the first thing we get asked is, what's the bad shot? What do you want to fix? And you spend 2-3 lessons using drivers and irons. And I ask myself, if I had 10 hours with a blank canvas, where would I start? This is exactly it. It's boring, but necessary. I know that if I can hit that towel 8 times out of 10 with this old TaylorMade Tour burner wedge, it means that I'm going to be able to move up onto my L swing, my ATR pitch shots, which means that I can then move into my full swing and build my game up from here. Backward chaining is key. So I'm going to hit these shots, and then I'm going to talk to you about the technique and what I'm trying to do. As I said, I've got the knowledge and know-how and confidence of right-handed player, but my body just won't sync up at the moment, and to be honest, is putting the pure hours and the numbers in is going to be more crucial than anything. So obviously the first thing I want to work on is basically getting confident holding the golf club this way round. Holding a golf club with a golf grip is not common or natural, and feels very weird. Now, I'm not going textbook grip at the end of the day. I don't even hold the grip textbook with my actual right-handed swing. But getting confident, holding the club, knowing where the head is probably the more important thing. Now, when I was hitting these shots, I was very rigid, treating it very much like a putting stroke, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
But obviously, as I'm going to be building this into a full swing, and obviously getting that rotation, being able to maneuver my wrist, breaking my wrist, creating that hinge, and still striking down on the golf ball. I can't stress enough how important striking down on the golf ball is, the better I'm going to be as a player. So, I mean, as you can see, small, always accelerating. You can see as I go through these shots, I slowly become more and more relaxed. Trying to keep my hands ahead of the golf ball, not lead with the leading edge. So you don't want to be necessarily making like divots, for example. You don't want to get steep on it. You don't want to catch that leading edge into the ground. But I'm definitely trying to bruise the ground with the bottom of the golf club. And the way I'm doing that is keeping, obviously, my weight and hands tiny bit ahead of the golf ball when we're hitting them. And that's what helps that ball pop up. And essentially, that is what the bounce of the golf club is there and designed for us to use.
Okay, so unless you're not that good at math, I didn't hit the towel once. However, by hitting 20 odd balls, and any old golf balls by the way, and aiming for a towel, already feel more confident. Found that I needed to get more relaxed, felt like I need to slightly pause in the backswing, so my hands basically got ahead of the golf ball, and I'm using the bounce of the golf club, not the leading edge. The problem is, so many people, when they start thinning the golf ball, do this, put it really far back in their stance, and unfortunately, that's just not going to help when you get on the golf course, because you're going to be under more pressure, you're going to get even more steeper, and that's when you start fatting it, or coming out of it and end up thinning it even more. So I'm going to lengthen the shot now. By the way, the towel, unbelievable practice aid. You can use this in the garden. I'm not worried about where the ball is finishing. All I'm worried about is picking a spot and trying to land that ball first bounce on the towel. You can do this in the garden, you can do it, well, anywhere really, or you can do it on the golf course. Don't be necessarily result orientated at the start. All I'm looking to do is basically go, how many times did I hit the towel? 0. So the only time I can only get better from this period. It means that when I do this drill in a week's, 2 weeks time, right now I hit the towel 4 times. It's measurable, you're gonna build your confidence, and also your technique's only gonna get better. So let's move a tiny bit further back. Let's talk about how I'm going to try and basically keep the same technique but lengthen it slightly. Okay, same thing now. Now obviously I didn't master the first one, but now I'm going to be working on about 25-yard pitch shots in terms of the ball landing at about 25 yards. Again, you can start to see where this is going to. If I can do this shot, for example, with like a sand wedge, it means that if I put like an 8-iron in my hand, that's now an 80-yard pitch shot, which means that from 100 yards in, even though I've just started the game, I'm starting to build up a repertoire of shots that I can play on the golf course. Burford doesn't particularly have much stuff like danger at the front of the green, so having a consistent shot from 100 yards is going to be very crucial. So again, let's see how we get on. Try and hit the towel at least once. Yeah.
So you can see where this is going as I'm slowly generating a slightly longer swing. Obviously I've still got quite a narrow stance, but I'm trying to focus where the club face is pointing as well as hitting the ground. 2 major things when it comes to our actual golf swing, and obviously swinging at it when it's going to be full pace. Our hands are the only thing that attach us to the golf club, so getting confident with that grip and knowing where the club face is pointing is probably key. I'm not worried where my hands are in terms of, are they underplaying, overplaying, am I coming across it, I don't need to worry about that. At this point, all I want to worry about is don't thin the ball like I just did there, because that's a disaster shot. And 90% of the time getting the ball somewhere within like 20 foot of the target, depending on how far away I am. So obviously 10% is a good rule. If I'm 20 yards away, normally you're looking to get it within 2 yards of the flag. Now obviously that's quite low, but that's what I'm going to be aiming for.
First time hitting the towel, it feels good. It feels really good. Things to notice when it comes down to chipping, the golden rule is always hit the ground. If you're not hitting the ground, it means you're not utilising the club properly. I'm not talking about making a divot, but just slapping the ground. I fatted a few throughout that, but they've still gone 80% of the way. It means I'm still going to be scoring. I thinned one of them, that's out the back, which means not only am I going to lose my confidence out on the golf course, but also it means that it's going to be very difficult for me to score. Thins are just danger. If I want to break 100, I can't be thinning a shot. And if you're thinning shots and you haven't broken 100 yet, this is where you need to start.
So the very end of the practice session, so I hit chip shots for about 30 to 35 minutes. This was the best one I had. So I hit around the towel 3 to 4 times in a row. confidence is key. Building your confidence is key. Enjoying the practice, enjoying the journey. That's probably the big one if you want to be good at this game.
Okay, last 4 there were exceptional. Always give yourself confidence. The first 2 before I had that run were pretty awful. Go through your routine. And the thing is, the biggest thing for me is that I'm gonna grow so much quicker learning left-handed than a beginner, purely because I know what is possible. And I can't stress enough, feeling confident is the biggest winner. I used to practice 40 hours a week, but that came to nothing on the day because I just doubted myself on every tee shot, every bunker shot, every putt I had. Whereas now, through experience, I know that you're only hurting yourself when you're thinking negatively. And I know that this goal is going to be really achievable, mainly because I've already done it before. So doing it again is going to be a lot easier, mainly because of that, rather than your technique. The way, this is not acceptable dispersion. If you're hitting 25-yard pitch shots at the moment and your dispersion looks like this, you are losing a lot of shots. These ones over here, down the bottom here, these are probably all the ones that I hit well. And this is probably the main reason why that towel is godlike, is because you're thinking more about less emotion, forget about the hole, where are you looking to land it? So I know that if I land my club there, it's going to roll out. Imagining this is a green, that's where my ball is going to be. And that's probably about, at the moment, 40% of my shots. Everything else is just devastational. And even though these are good, gotta get rid of the bad shots. That's too many shots, that's too many shots, these are too many shots. And just tightening everything up is the bit that's going to help your game. As I say, strike and making sure where the club face is pointing is key, not what your hands and all the swing plane and all the mumbo jumbo. Okay, hopefully that made some sense. But anyway, that's how I would start. If I had a blank canvas, which I do, that's how I'm going to start the journey and build up from there. So next one, we're going to build from obviously our pitch shots into more full shots, and gaining our confidence, trying to basically get up and down, integrate that into putting, and then moving forward. Guys, again, thank you for all the support on this series. It means a hell of a lot. If you keep liking and sharing and commenting, then obviously I'm going to keep making these videos. Right, see you later.